Yeah. It's facing that way.
But people will look at you and maybe think, you don't mind it. I think it's all good.
Thank you.
All right, great to be in New York. Thank you everyone for coming over and having a look at all of our cool new stuff. All right, let's get started. So yeah, you guys heard the news, and you probably not only heard the news, you guys write the news. So there's not great news lately about the PC industry. Things are not going really great. But the really interesting thing here is that despite the industry trend, we are actually doing really well. And you know that the PC industry is dominated by some really big corporations that are like 100 years old. We're a much smaller, younger, and agile company, and we have a lot of really cool, innovative products, and that's what really sets us apart. And that's also how we're able to buck the trend and do well even when the overall situation is maybe not great. So that's really what it matters, that you have innovative products, that you have products that have more value and that deliver something that other products don't, right? When there's pressure on the market, that's when people pay attention to it and go for those products. And that's why we're able to buck the trend. So you can see that in a lot of markets, we are doing really well and hit big milestones. So you can see that in gaming, which is a part of our consumer laptops, right? We are doing really well in several markets. In regular consumer laptops, we're also doing really well in several markets. And we're able to not only keep our market share, but even grow despite these times. So COVID has rocked the boat, right? We all saw the supply chain has swung back and forth. And that's exactly the scenario where we benefit from having all these great innovative products. That takes a little bit, yeah. I think you skipped the slide, but it's okay. So in our consumer laptops, besides gaming, we have 3 different brands, right? We have ProArt, which is our high-end creator brand. We have our Zenbooks, and we have our VivoBooks. And Zenbook is what I'm going to talk about here today, the latest from our Zenbooks. There it is. So our Zenbooks are ultra-portable, slim and light laptops. And yeah, so I'll give you a quick rundown of the most interesting new stuff. Mainly the Zenbook S13, which you guys have seen. We have it all over the place here. And I'll quickly walk you through what's really cool and new and exciting about it. All right. So yeah, Zenbook overall, as our laptop brand, stands for several things. It's our ultra-portable brand, so it's really thin and light, all-metal chassis. Sustainability is something that's new that we started to really focus on, that we announced at CES, the beginning of this year. So we focus on as much eco-friendly technologies as possible. We're going big on EP Gold. For those of you who are not familiar with EP, it's essentially certifying that all your supply chain is sustainable. Not just you yourself, but all the suppliers and vendors that you work with. And we have a brand new plasma ceramic aluminum, which is a really, really nice premium material. You can have it feel, because the special thing about it is not just how it looks, but also how it feels. We have it over there behind the tree. And OLED laptops are a really big deal for Samsung, for consumer laptops. We use Samsung OLED panels for the last 2 years now, and are doing really well there when it comes to market share as well. We are now calling it ASUS Lumina OLED. I'll talk a little bit more about what that means later. And we now guarantee a delta E below 1, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be really happy about. And next one, powerful, so performance. That's something that our Zenbooks have always stood out in as well. We tend to put more cores and higher TDPs and more performance into those ultra slim portable laptops than the next guy. And that's something that really stands out when you compare the similar form factor and similar dimensions of a laptop with something else that's on the market. Okay, and here it is, the Zenbook S13 OLED. So we had a Zenbook S13 in 2022, last year, that was very popular. Especially a lot of editors really love that laptop. Unfortunately, it was not super widespread and not super available, but people are really happy about this product. And we have a much improved version this year that's even better. So it's significantly lighter and, go to the next slide. Yeah, portable, right? So what makes it super portable? It's only 1 centimeter in thickness and it weighs only 1 kilo. So that's a really, really crazy milestone when you think about ultra portable laptops. It is possible to go thinner than this and lighter than this, but it's getting to the point of diminishing returns, right? Is the mic stopping or is it something with my ears? All right, okay, we'll just keep going. And how did we manage to achieve this? It's not like there's one part in the laptop that you can just make thinner and then the whole laptop becomes thinner. And it's not like a laptop is a sandwich where every layer lies on top of the next layer, but they're all kind of like intertwined if you think about it. And we had to make all of these different pieces thinner to be able to make the total laptop this thin. So it's around 5 millimeters thinner than the 2022 model. That one was around 50 millimeters, and now we brought it down to around 10 millimeters. So you can see the webcam is 0.8 millimeters thinner. The laptop is 0.15 millimeters thinner. So those are all really small numbers, but that's what you have to do because it all adds up. That's how you get to those big space savings, is you do little pieces everywhere. And what really sets apart the Zenbook S13 is there's other ultrabooks in the market that are really thin and light, but they usually come with compromises, and pretty big ones. And I'll go through why we didn't really and how we achieved to not really compromise on all these things. All right. So these are the lower parts of the laptop. You see, motherboard is thinner, the fans, the cooling system is thinner, the battery is thinner, touchpad, the keyboard, and the bottom case. So all of these pieces are thinner. And what you would expect, what a lot of these laptops do trade-off-wise, is the build quality, battery life, the keyboard, the I/O, and so on. But not with us. So if you go to the next slide. The webcam. So I pointed out the webcam is thinner than the one in the previous year's model. So we'd expect that maybe the webcam quality isn't as great as the previous one. But no, the webcam quality is actually better. If you go to the next slide, you can see that the image is higher resolution, it's brighter, we have a dedicated IR sensor, we have a dedicated ambient light sensor, and we are able to do all of that even though the webcam module is thinner. And for those of you who are not aware, the webcam is actually a big part of the factor that defines the thickness of the lid. So you can make the rest of the lid and display thinner. The webcam is really the challenging part, particularly the lens that you need on the webcam. And we have the different bits and pieces here as well. If you look behind me, you can actually look at the different parts, and we have a side-by-side comparison of the 2022 and the 2023. And you can see if you have a nice camera that you're able to do macro shots, this is where it's going to shine. You can do some awesome macro shots there and really see the difference between the 2022 and 2023 model. Next up, the aluminum chassis. So we made the chassis itself thinner, but the palm rest is actually sturdier and flexes less than the previous one. That's not to say that the 2022 S13 was wobbly. That was already pretty sturdy, but the new one is thinner and sturdier. The touchpad is not only bigger, but despite being thinner, the touchpad overall being thinner, we actually have more travel for the click. So that's something you would definitely not expect, right? You would think that for a thinner laptop, then there's less travel on the touchpad, or maybe no travel at all, and it's just a simulated haptic feedback. But no, it really actually moves and it travels more than previous gen. The keyboard overall has a 25% lower volume than in 2022, but the feeling is actually really nice. There is a slight reduction in key travel. We have the keyboards here, you can try side by side, but the new one feels really nice. Considering that this is one of the thinnest laptops on the market, you'll be surprised how well it actually feels to type on. It's still comfortable to type on. And I/O ports. That's where there are a lot of laptops on the market that are much thicker and much heavier, and they only have Type-C ports. And maybe just one or just two, and that's it. We not only have a headphone jack, but we have a full-size HDMI port, and we have two Type-C foundable ports, both of which can output video signal, and they can charge, and they can be used at full speed foundable as well. And the battery is thinner, and it's actually slightly smaller in capacity, but it's almost the same as the previous gen from last year. And the battery life, despite it being an OLED display, it's able to get to 14 hours video playback and 12 hours of web browsing, which is outstanding for such a thin and light 13-inch ultrabook. All right, so we have portability. That's one of the milestones or one of the pillars of our Zenbooks. Next up, sustainable. What's the sustainable highlight for the Zenbook S13? All right. So there are 6 main points for sustainability. Purposeful innovation means that we try to really focus on things that end users really perceive as an improvement, as opposed to just having something on the packaging or on the product page that doesn't really impact how they use the products. Upcycling is using materials and reusing materials and making some, making some extra value, creating some extra value out of recycled materials. Packaging, we did some really cool stuff as well with AR animations. There's a slide about it later. Transparency, we're very open about how we do things, who we work with, and what our goals are. We have a website where we have, I think a 10 or 15-year plan. That's our vision for sustainability. So we're very open about this. And responsible manufacturing, which vendors we choose to work with. And carbon neutrality. So that's something that we started with our commercial laptops, and we're now doing with the Zenbook S13 as well. The Zenbook S13 is the first Zenbook that is going to be carbon neutral, where we actually purchase the amount of carbon that it costs to manufacture the laptop and create all the materials and the assets. So when you buy the Zenbook S13, it's completely offset. You're not putting any extra pressure on the environment. Okay? All right, so there's a lot of parts where we use recycled materials. So for example, the chassis cover and bottom case, 50% of the aluminum is recycled. So that's essentially, when you CNC aluminum, you have all those shavings and small bits and pieces. Instead of that being, used as trash, essentially, we use that and recycle it to manufacture a really premium high-end product. And as you'll see, the plasma ceramic aluminum is a really impressive new material. Very sturdy, feels very nice, and looks very nice, and not at all like something you would expect from something that's recycled. The magnesium aluminum alloy, the same thing. So we use the shavings that other manufacturers use when they CNC this material, and we reuse it instead of using brand new material. And for the keycaps, 50% is recycled plastics. The speakers use 5% ocean-bound and 45% recycled plastics. And the PCB and touchpad are halogen-free. All right, here we go through the details. I think we can go through those slides a little bit faster. So you can get a copy of this deck for all this material if you want to use some of these assets. But I think we don't need to go through all the details right now. Ocean-bound plastic, you guys all know what it means. And yeah, so you can see, despite using all these recycled materials, that does not mean that the quality of the product is inferior in any way. Like, some people associate recycled with inferior quality, and it's true for some products. But for us, if you go to the next slide, we can see we actually increased the number of military-grade tests that we do for our Zenbook S13. It's 26 tests, and that includes drop test, high temperature, low temperature, humidity, vibration test, all of these things, to make sure that using all these materials, the laptop is not as sturdy as the previous one, but even sturdier. So that's something that's really important. Packaging, yeah, so this is what it looks like. We have an AR animation when you buy the product, or even when you're just window shopping and you go through the shop. You can use your phone, scan a QR code, and you get this kind of animation. The reason we're doing that is because we want to make the shopping and unboxing experience still fun and engaging, despite not using all the different color material for printing on it, which is not good for the environment. And parts of the packaging can also be reused. So this part of the packaging can be used as a laptop stand. So if you don't have a laptop stand yet, or you're not sure if you want to get one, this is something that you can use in the meantime to get you the idea of